He's singing a song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland.
Hey everybody, this is 22 Tiger Dude here, and I'm here to review Lethal Weapon. So, Lethal Weapon stars Mel Gibson and Donald Glover, and the film is directed by Richard Donner, as well as being written by Shane Black. So before I review Lethal Weapon, my guest star, wwefan0599, is going to be reviewing this movie. So, WWE fan, take it away.
Hey, what's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again, and today we're going to review Lethal Weapon. So, Lethal Weapon stars Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, and what this film is about, it's about, this cop named Murtaugh, and, he really is just, he's an older cop. He really has a lot of experience, and when he has to team up with this younger, suicidal cop named Riggs, let's just say the both of them don't like working in pairs, but they have to for this situation because they have to just stop a bunch of drug smugglers. So, what did I think of Lethal Weapon? I love this movie. I think this movie is awesome. I love Lethal Weapon. It is a quintessential 80s action film. It really is, This movie came out the same year as, Predator and RoboCop, and definitely this is one of the best that came out that year, honestly, and this movie's awesome. I love Lethal Weapon, so yeah. So, let's get into my positives, and my positives are the acting with the film. The acting is really good with this movie. Mel Gibson, of course, as Riggs. I love him as that character. He is awesome as Riggs, honestly. He does such a great job. It's my second best character of his, My first is, of course, Max Rokitansky, and this is my second favorite character from Mel Gibson, because Mel Gibson really brings something to his character. He really does. I think he does a really great job in this movie as Riggs. He is great, in my opinion, as Riggs, And I really do think Mel Gibson is an unappreciated actor because he's just so great, and he's great in this film, and I really enjoyed him, so yeah. Danny Glover, of course, as Murtaugh, he's great as well. It's his best performance. He's so great as Murtaugh. He really is. I love him in this film. He did such a great job, I really enjoyed Danny Glover in this movie, he was really good. So yeah, Gary Busey as the bad guy. Gary Busey was great as the bad guy. I thought he did a really good job in this film, I thought he was really good as the bad guy, honestly. I really enjoyed him. Gary Busey looks like a kind of a strange person, a strange person in real life. But Gary Busey was really good in Lethal Weapon. He did good as the bad guy, so yeah. The action's really good with this movie. I really like the action. Richard Donner did a great job directing the action with the film, I do love the action with this movie, so yeah. The back and forth, the dialogue between Riggs and Murtaugh is going to be some of the best you'll ever see on screen, because I just love their back and forth with each other. It's incredible, in my opinion, I do just love the back and forth between Murtaugh and Riggs, It's great, in my opinion, and I love it, so yeah. The writing's absolutely incredible with Lethal Weapon, I love the writing with Lethal Weapon, some great writing, in my opinion, so yeah. The directing's incredible. Like I said earlier, this movie's directed by Richard Donner. If that name sounds familiar, because this guy's directed Superman the movie, The Goonies, he's directed so many films, so I just find that, so Assassins, I think he even directed, so it's just great to see that Richard Donner directed this film, because he does such a great job directing this film, some great directing, in my opinion, I just thought it was some great directing, in my opinion, so yeah. The pacing's really good, I was invested throughout the entire film, for a movie that's an hour and 15 minutes, it definitely had some great pacing, in my opinion. It definitely was going, really, really fast. It had some fast-moving pace, in my opinion, so yeah. Guys, overall, I love Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon is probably one of my favorite action films of all time. It's an incredible movie, honestly, so yeah. So it's time for my official grade on Lethal Weapon, and my official grade on Lethal Weapon is an A+. This is an incredible film. I love Lethal Weapon. It's definitely an awesome action film. If you've never seen Lethal Weapon, please see it, because it's awesome. So yeah. And find it funny that two of the best action films of all time take place on Christmas. Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. Think about that. So yeah. So, what did you guys think of Lethal Weapon? Leave it in the comment section below. And I'm wwefan0599, and we'll see you out later. Peace.
Thank you so much, WWE fan, for reviewing Lethal Weapon. So, Lethal Weapon is a phenomenal action crime film. This film is really well made, and it's thanks to the clever writing by Shane Black. He really does do a clever job writing this film, but it is so well directed by Richard Donner, and when you have those two talents in charge of this film, you know you're in for something truly incredibly awesome. And that's what Lethal Weapon is. It is truly one incredible awesome action flick. But what made this such a fantastic movie, in my opinion, is really of how pretty human this film is. Like, the characters feel like actual human beings that you can get behind and care about. Really, when it comes to the two leads. And I really loved how Shane Black handled the chemistry between Donald Glover and Mel Gibson. I thought the two of them really had a fantastic back and forth with each other. They really did care about each other as the film was progressing. And as the film is progressing, these two characters have a better understanding with each other. You constantly worry for these characters. You want these characters to survive. The antagonist of this movie is Gary Busey. Yeah, Gary Busey is the antagonist for this film, and I thought he did a really great job. Everyone, I thought, did a very great job in this film, and while the villains aren't really in this film really until like the second half, you get a smidge of them in the first half, but the second half is where you see them. And for what they had, I thought they served very well to the overall plot. And when the movie does try to add humor, it flows very naturally and it works very well. And they do add it at the most necessary moments. And that's thanks to how natural Mel Gibson and Danny Glover play off their roles. Shane Black, when he wrote this movie, just did such a successful job balancing taking the movie seriously but having fun with it too. And Richard Donner, he has a lot of wide shots to the movie to make this movie feel very immersive. The action is very well filmed, the cinematography is great, the score to Lethal Weapon is absolutely fantastic. The characters are fully realized, and that's what I think makes Lethal Weapon just awesome to watch. Now, the only flaw I do have with Lethal Weapon is that when we get to the climax, there's a scene where Mel Gibson and Gary Busey, they fight with each other, and the camera work with each action scene before this one moment was very well filmed. You could see what was going on. It was never shaky. But for some reason, once we get to that final moment between Mel Gibson and Gary Busey fighting in this front lawn, the camera work just gets really shaky. There's a few times where you could see Mel Gibson or Gary Busey punch each other really well, but for some reason it just got shaky for the most part, and I just thought that could have been better. Overall, guys, Lethal Weapon is a near perfection. It's a movie that lets you have fun with the action and with the dialogue and the back and forth between the lead characters, but also the movie lets you take it seriously when it needs you to get deep within the characters because of how fully realized these characters are. You know, they actually feel like real human beings going out to face perilous situations, and I thought it was just so well done. It's well written by Shane Black, it's well directed by Richard Donner, it's got a great score, it's just fantastic all around, and that's why I'm going to give Lethal Weapon 4 out of 4 stars. So you guys, in the comments down below, let me know, what did you think of Lethal Weapon? And I would also love to thank my guest star, wwefan0599, for coming here to review Lethal Weapon. This is 22 Tiger Dude here, and don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!